Okay, looks like we are all set to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get us kicked off. First of all, my name's Eric. I'm going to be your presenter today. Thanks for attending. And let me get a couple of quick things out of the way. The first thing is I want to talk about the risks that are associated with trading. Obviously, you should never trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Always use equity management, good money management principles. And as I go through this, I'm also going to show you some real live examples of traders and things that they've done. Just understand that these results may not be typical for your situation. Obviously, we're putting our best foot forward, but always, only trade with money that you can afford to lose. So with that said, let me go ahead and get us kicked off. We've got about 45 minutes together, so I'm going to get through this as quickly as I can. First thing I want to tell you about is, what we're going to do, because here's my promise for you today. By the end of this presentation, you're going to have the full faith and a lot of understanding on how artificial intelligence can really impact your trading. And what may come as a surprise to a lot of the people in the webinar is this is the same AI that we actually use every day in our everyday lives. We're just not using it in our trading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through all of this as quickly as I possibly can and give you as much information as I can within 45 minutes. Now, as we're going through this, if you have any questions, all you have to do is do a private chat with me and I will try to address them while we're on. So just if you know where that chat box is, go ahead and just type your questions in there and then I'll be able to run with you guys. So let's go ahead and jump right in. In my position within the organization, I've been here with Vantage Point for years, and I get to travel all over the United States demonstrating the software. And one of the big questions that always comes up is, Eric, it looks fantastic, but does it really work? Does it really work as easy as you're showing me? The answer is yes. So let me address that real quick, because I think that's important. These are just a few, and I only grabbed a few because of the limited time here, of what our customers are saying. Look at this. Vantage Point has doubled my annual returns. Here's another one. I'm seeing my win percentage increase drastically. Another one from TJ. I am consistently making between 14 to 17% a week. Wow, folks, 14 to 17% a week. Who wouldn't like to do that? Scott says, I can tell you I've had 2 options trades that yielded 1,400%. And then I'll wrap this up with, I made 115% on my first 2 weeks using Vantage Point software. Now, a lot of you might be looking at that saying, hey, you're just hand selecting these. And yeah, I mean, my marketing department put this together for me. But the reality is if you go to our webpage at vantagepointsoftware.com, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories just like this. But a lot of people say, prove it. So let me ask you a question. What would you think if I told you that we had a software tool that could actually predict the price movement of a stock over the next 1 to 3 days? What would you do with that information? And what if I told you that it was actually correct up to 87.4% of the time? It's pretty exciting, guys. So how many of you would actually like for me to prove these claims to you right now? If you would, just type in yes, and I'd be happy to do it. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a tool that uses artificial intelligence, which has the ability to forecast the price movement on stocks, ETFs, currencies, cryptocurrencies, futures, commodities. It really doesn't matter what you're trading. There's a high probability we're already forecasting for it. So if it sounds too good to be true, what I'm going to do in the next, let's see, say 40 minutes or so, I'm going to prove it to you by demonstrating the power of such a tool. So let me give you just a little idea of the potential of the amount of money that you can actually make with artificial intelligence. Here's an example real quick on the E-mini S&P. 15,000 turned into $35,000. Here's another one. I'm going to run through these pretty quick, so I want to get into the meat and potatoes. Here, 1 contract of gold. I don't know what the margin requirement is on gold to hold overnight. I'm assuming it's under 10,000, but this, a $10,000 investment turned into 20,000. The next one on this particular trade, 122% profit in just 2 trades. And then for you options traders out there, now, obviously, it's going to depend on the strike that you buy, whether you're in or out of the money, so on and so forth. But the bottom line is 1 trade, 500% profit. Now, these are pretty bold statements. Let me tell you who's behind this and who's behind the artificial intelligence. And I'm going to explain in just a moment what the software is doing, how you can get your hands on it, and how it's able to do this forecasting. But first, I want you to look at your screen. Look on the left-hand side of the screen. You're going to see an image of Lane Mendelsohn. He is the president of Vantage Point. He's my boss. And to the right of him is his father, Louis Mendelson. I want to spend a moment on Lou because this is important. Lou is kind of like the Steve Jobs of artificial intelligence. He's been at this for longer than some of you have been alive, literally. Vantage Point's a 40-year-old organization. He started the company 40 years ago, and 30 of those years have been spent specifically in perfecting the use of what I'm about to show you, which is artificial intelligence to forecast the financial markets. Now, since then, you know, Lou's since retired. He's in his 70s, but he's turned the reins over to his son, Lane. And Lane, the easiest way for me to explain this is imagine if Steve Jobs, when he was still alive, imagine if Steve Jobs trained his oldest son and taught him everything he knew about Apple, about technology, about design, and then let his son, when he thought his son was ready, let him run with the company. Imagine how much more innovative Apple would be, how many better products they would have. That's exactly what's happened with Lane, because Lane's grown up in the industry. And he's not just toying around with artificial intelligence. This is the only career he's ever had his entire life. He's worked with his dad his entire life. But he also gets to travel around the world talking about artificial intelligence. So I'm going to give you a quick little example. Instead of me standing on a soapbox bragging about him, I'll just show you. So if you have your speakers on, listen.
Lane Mendelson's company has developed a way to transform the lives of people.
Lane Mendelson, the president of Vantage Point Software.
Lane Mendelson.
Lane Mendelson.
Lane Mendelson, president of Vantage Point AI. Joining me in the studio today is Lane Mendelson, and with me today, Lane Mendelson, the president of Vantage Point AI. Your artificial intelligence software was able to predict the January market drop.
Your company forecasted that the tech stocks erased all the gains for the year.
What's the criteria you use at Vantage Point when you look at a stock?
We're doing a very advanced form of pattern recognition using artificial intelligence. My company's been involved with artificial intelligence for 30 years. This is the future. You're talking about thousands and thousands of data points being analyzed every single day. A human could not do this. If you're not analyzing all of those other factors, you're not seeing the full picture. To really gain an edge in today's global markets, you have to have a global approach.
Vantage Point Software 的主席任，那他和我们一起分享一下股票投资。
It's all about having the odds in your favor. Our focus is the technology. In the last 10 years, we've spent over $10 million in research and development, developing the technology. We actually have been forecasting the retail stocks to go up for about a week now. A couple of days ago, we said tech stocks were going to start to go up, and look what today happened. I mean, the Dow had a tremendous day today. Our philosophy is if we can't predict it with a very high degree of accuracy, why bother? There are so many other stocks that we can forecast with such a high degree of accuracy.
And one of the things that I like about you personally, Lane, is that you really are a family guy.
I think that it's most important that that you spend time with family, you teach values. My daughter knows all of our core values for our company, and the first one is integrity. We're going to continue to refine, develop, and make this product so that everybody in the world who wants to have financial freedom can easily benefit from it.
All right. So thanks for entertaining me with that. That saves me a lot of time, though. It lays a little bit of the foundation about the people that are actually behind the technology, because there are a lot of people out there that are fly by night. And I just wanted everyone on this call to realize that is not the case with Vantage Point. We absolutely are world leaders when it comes to applying artificial intelligence and forecasting for the financial markets. So let's jump right into, I'm going to talk about AI just for a brief moment, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. But what is artificial intelligence? Well, the reality is a lot of people get spooked by it, but simply put, artificial intelligence is nothing more than using computers to process vast amounts of data and to recognize patterns. I'm going to keep it really, really simple, but the reason they call it machine learning is because the more information you feed it and the longer it has to run, the smarter it gets. I know people out here have children. You know, I have a child, and the reality is when they're young, they're taking in information, and as they take in additional information, as they get older, they get a lot smarter. The computers do the exact same thing, folks. Now, maybe you're worried and going, well, you know, AI is going to take over the world, or, oh my God, you're thinking Skynet or something like the Terminator. That's not the case. And we're going to jump into this, and I'll explain exactly how we're using it. But the first thing I want to address is something that's really, really important. And I think everyone on this call is going to agree. Now, you don't have a way to really communicate with me, but Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Do you believe that the markets are global and that all markets influence other markets? I hope you're answering yes, because if you're a Forex trader, obviously you know, or currency trader, you know that various different currencies are impacting what it is you're trading. If you're a stock trader, you realize that all the sectors as well as the markets, the ETFs, are impacting what it is you're trading. See, the world is very, very different today than it used to be because information is changing hands so quickly, especially with 5G on the horizon. I mean, with today's technology, the markets are more global than ever, and that information is constantly being shared at breakneck speed. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because this is an important point. The stocks, individual stocks or individual asset classes or the markets, they're no longer isolated. We live in a very new world. Now, the reason this is important is because if we know that whatever we're trading is being impacted by other markets, well, we need to be able to identify it. But before we do that, let me take a step back and give you a quick example. And this is a very elementary example, but I want to get the gears turning in your heads for a moment so that you can take in what I'm about to lay out in front of you. So I've just put two simple charts up. One's on advanced micro devices, AMD. The next one's on the E-mini NASDAQ. And if I draw a line just showing you the directional movement, you're going to notice that these both have a parallel relationship with one another. They move very linearly, if you will. So obviously, if you're going to trade AMD, you should probably look at the E-mini NASDAQ. That's simple. But not all relationships are linear. Some are non-linear. Some are moving, with a lot of volatility in them. Let me bring up something else. Here's the financial sector ETF. You'll notice that if you look at the financial sector ETF, and I take that line that I just drew on the screen, and I drag it down on top of Bank of America, something should pop right out at you, which is, wow, those things look almost identical. It's because they're influencing one another. And that's what we're talking about here. Markets that influence other markets. Now, not all relationships are going to look parallel or be linear. Some of them are going to be going in opposite directions. They're going to have an inverse relationship. The chart that I have up on the screen right now, the S&P 500 and gold, these tend to move in opposite directions of one another. Now, gold is considered a safe haven. So when the market gets hit and it starts to go down aggressively, people buy gold. They flock to it. That's just common sense. Everyone on this call already knows that. So I have friends in the industry that say, Eric, I do this myself. I got spreadsheets and I've got like 5 or 10 different things that I follow. And if something happens over here based on cause and effect, I know to go over there and trade something. Well, that's fine and dandy, but here's the reality. There's no way as a human being that we could analyze all of the global markets out there and all of the individual asset classes to figure out how they're all impacting one another. That's why we need artificial intelligence. So I want you to look at your screen for a second. Pay attention. This is important. I'm going to pull up one of my favorite pictures. It's an iceberg. Icebergs are real unique creatures because the majority of it lives beneath the surface. And in order to find it or to see it, you need special equipment. You need sonar. I mean, you're not going to just see it because it's hiding beneath the surface. And the reason I'm saying this is if you think about the Titanic, the thing that sunk the Titanic wasn't the iceberg that they saw. It was what lied beneath the surface and dug a hole, a hole in the hull of the ship. That's a tongue twister, guys. So here's how this works. Normally, when we're looking at something and we're trading it, we're focused on earnings. We're looking at the, all of our technical indicators. Maybe we're looking at the news, but that's only the things on the surface, above water that you can actually see. The reality is these markets are so global and interconnected now that the majority of what's influencing what it is you're trading lies beneath the surface and you can't see it unless you have the right technology. And that's what's important here, because I've learned that if you're going to be successful as a trader, you're only going to be as good as the tools that you have. I'll give you an example. If you're a swimming pool contractor, if you're trying to dig those big holes with a shovel, I got news for you. A backhoe or an excavator is going to do the job a lot quicker and safer. If you're an architect and you're trying to do things, make complicated designs with a ruler, a slide ruler and a pencil and graph paper, it's going to take a lot longer than using something like AutoCAD. So I think you guys get the idea. So the reason this is so important is because this is exactly what Vantage Point is doing. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the software. This is where this gets really fun. If you stepped away from your computer and you can only hear my voice, you're going to want to run back to the computer now. You don't want to miss a minute of what I'm about to cover. So I'll give you a second. And this is Vantage Point. All right, let me explain what you're looking at right now. you're looking at one of the most advanced tools on planet Earth. That's a fact. In a moment, I'm going to put some technical indicators up on the screen. Mine are going to be very different than everything you've seen thus far being on this webinar today. Hold on one second. Let me get a drink of water. I'm getting a little scratchy in my throat. All right. I appreciate that, guys. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to pop the hood and show you what the software is doing. Now, for any of you that are familiar with what intermarket analysis is, that's what the software is doing. And I'm going to give you an example real quick. I'm going to pull up a simple stock that I think everyone can appreciate and understand. We're going to look at the properties on Southwest Airlines. Now, Southwest is an airline company. Nothing special about that. But what I've just asked the artificial intelligence to do is to scan over 10,000 different markets and find patterns and relationships that exist. And I've asked it to find the strongest ones. So it's finding the strongest, let me see, hold on one second, guys. Can anyone tell me if they're seeing the Vantage point on their screen right now, or if they're still seeing the iceberg? Someone give me a chat message. All right, give me just 1 second on my end, guys. Great time to grab a drink of water. My support person just came in and said he could not see my screen, so I need to make sure that he's still seeing this. Give me just 1 second. I absolutely hate dead air. Let me just make sure that he can see this and that we are all set to go. So I have everything. It looks like everything's running well on my side. He's going to be running back in here in just 1 minute. So anyways, here's the point that I'm making though. While he's checking on this and you can still hear my voice, what the software is doing is it'll look at any target market that you're about to trade, and then it will do a global analysis. It will analyze over 10,000 different markets, finding those other markets or securities that are driving, impacting, and influencing what it is you're trading. Once it finds them, it mathematically stack ranks them. So it can produce the top 31 that are having the biggest impact. With that information, what we've been able to do very successfully, and we have a United States patent on this, we can extract that information in the form of forecasting. So we can pull data points out of that and put them into some predictive technical indicators. And what those predictive technical indicators are allowing us to do is to forecast 1 to 3 days ahead of time. So give me just one moment, guys. Let me see if I can pull this over. Okay, I'm still having a technical issue, so hopefully I've just fixed it. Can you go check and see if this fixed? Because I need them to be able to see the software. Okay, give me just 1 second, guys. So again, what I was saying is what we're able to do here is we're able to extract all of that data and put it into some predictive technical indicators. So what this means is twofold. First of all, when we're looking at a stock or a future or a Forex pair, we're not seeing it in isolation. We're not seeing it all by itself. We're actually analyzing the global effects that are driving, pushing, pulling, and impacting that thing on a daily basis. So I'm still having some technical issues over here, guys. If you guys aren't able to see my screen, bear with me for just one moment. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag Vantage Point to this screen, and maybe you guys can see it better that way. So let's see. Okay. Mark, can you tell me what screen you're seeing right now? If you're seeing the iceberg or if you're seeing Vantage Point. Still seeing ice? Okay, looks like you guys are still seeing ice. Unfortunately, I'm trying to pull my other screen over, guys, and it's not doing it for you. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the PowerPoint for a second and leave everything else back up. Screen sharing has stopped. Okay, now you should be able to see my screen, hopefully. Oh, this is so frustrating. Okay, but we're going to keep pressing on. So what the AI is doing is it's doing that advanced pattern recognition, and then through the use of some predictive technical indicators that we also have a United States patent on, we're able to forecast 1 to 3 days ahead of time what's about to take place. Now, give me one more minute, guys. Black screen. You should be able to see this, Mark, and I don't know why you're not. Screen 1 or screen 2? Guys, bear with me. I'm sorry. We're still having technical issues.
Hey, Eric, can you hear me?
I was just on screen 2. That's here.
Eric.
See how it's glowing? Check to see if you can see the chart now.
Okay, I don't think you can hear me.
Thankfully, and this is a fact, using the artificial intelligence is actually easier than conducting this webinar and trying to figure out the control panel here. This is the first time I've used this particular one. So give me just one moment, guys. We may be back up and running, and I'm just going to accelerate through this. Okay, can anyone see the chart now on the screen? For a second. No, 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 no. Okay. So let me find the other one.
There are no charts at all.
So they cannot see this one, gentlemen. This is what they're looking at.
To test my connection, if you guys can hear my voice, can you please check me real quick why?
So which one is it? Okay, we'll try this one.
Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you please chat me real quick why? Or
share that. Can anyone see that particular screen? Does that show the chart?
Okay, yes.
Okay, we are back in business. Guys, I really appreciate you so much for dealing with that. But now that we are back in business, I'm going to go ahead and jump us right back into where we were so that you guys can see everything. So bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so we left off on the iceberg. Let me get back into Vantage Point, and then I'll run you through the nuts and bolts of what we're looking at. Okay, you guys still see the chart, correct? Someone give me a yes. Perfect, perfect. Here we go. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because I've got about 20 minutes left, so I need to get through this pretty quick. All right, so as I open up Southwest Airlines, look at this list here, guys. So we're talking about an airline stock. The AI has already gone and found what's having the biggest influence. And if you look at this list, this is going to be easy to understand. Alaska Airlines, American, Delta, JetBlue, Spirit. Anyone with common sense realizes that airline companies affect other airline companies. Well, that's common. But the software goes so far beyond that because now look at what it's doing. It's analyzing ETFs. It's looking at the transportation ETF, the industrial spider, the Dow Jones Transportation Average. Then it's looking at currencies like the euro, the yen, the dollar. Hey, how many people think light sweet crude oil or natural gas is going to have an impact on an energy stock? Because remember, this is what jet fuel's made from. So the software is even looking at that. It could have a large impact or a small impact. But the bottom line is what the software is doing is it's analyzing all these markets, finding these causal relationships, if you will, comparing them all to one another, and then doing a weighted calculation to figure out which and how many of these are actually affecting the stock and to what degree. Now, I want you to think about something because this is the crux of what makes up our predictive technical indicators. When you're looking at your technical indicators, you're just seeing it in isolation, all by itself. You're not actually seeing all of these other markets that are driving and impacting it. You're just seeing the stock that you're analyzing and it's looking backwards in time. Well, that's not the case here, guys. So let me jump back into the software for just a moment. Excuse me, let me jump back into the PowerPoint for just a moment. And perfect. All right. So moving on from the iceberg, influences you can see, the things that you can't see. So what are we left to do? Well, as traders, and I've seen a lot, I was watching some of the webinars earlier, there's a lot of technical analysis being done. I'm not telling you that it's wrong, but here are the usual suspects that you see. People are using Fibonacci, support and resistance, trend line breakouts, candlesticks, moving averages, Bollinger Bands. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But here's the reality. If you came here to learn, sometimes this is how you feel. You get frustrated because you don't know what to look at. So here's where I'd like your participation. Now that we got everything up and running, I want you to look at this screen. I took a snapshot in time of Cisco. How many of you on the call think Cisco is going to continue to move up? And how many think it's going to go sideways? How many of you think it's going to go down? Go ahead and share that with me. I'm just curious. Oh, wait. So you guys want me to add some indicators too? Okay, hold on. Now, this isn't Vantage Point software, by the way. I'm just using the normal stuff that you guys have access to. Okay, here's some indicators for you. I just put up Ichimoku Cloud. I put some Bollinger Bands up there for you. I've got MACD, stochastics, volume, as well as RSI. Now, looking with this information, how many of you think it's going to go up or down or sideways? Okay. Someone just said all of this is obvious. The only issue is how much do you sell this info? No. This is software. I'm going to cover that in a moment. So the bottom line is I'm getting a mixed bag. Some of you think it's going up. Some of you think it's going down. And that's good to know. But here's the reality, guys. Traditional technical analysis, not only is it dangerous, it's going to become non-existent in the very, very near future. And here's why. Every indicator you see on the screen is based on past price action. So it's looking backwards in time. It all lags the market, and it only considers the market in complete isolation. That's an issue. Because the reality is, if you're not looking at the market as a whole and you don't know what's driving or impacting something, how do you know what to do with it? So let's get back into the software. This is where this becomes fun. I'm going to go ahead and throw the indicators up on the screen right now. And we're going to walk through this, and I'm going to show you the predictive technical indicators. Okay, let me introduce you to what you're looking at here. I'm going to take some time with this because I want you to fully understand. So before I come back and explain what it is you're looking at, there's an easier way for me to do this, and I'll just do it through the PowerPoint itself. Pay attention to your screen. Here's what we're going to be talking about. The first thing is our predicted moving averages. We have a short, medium, and long-term predicted moving average. And what these are doing is they are telling us ahead of time whether a trend is expected to go up or down. And it's the blue line that you want to focus on. If you look at my mouse over here, it's this blue line right here. Anytime the blue line crosses above the black, a bullish trend is expected. And it's simple to understand because we shaded it green for you. If the blue line crosses beneath the black line, a bearish trend is expected. Now, what goes into it? Well, if you look on your screen, a simple moving average is nothing more than a series or periods of time added together and then divided by a number. What we've done is we've shaved off some of that data, and then we've replaced it with the predictive data from those 31 other markets that the artificial intelligence finds. That's what gives it its predictive nature. The second indicator I'm going to talk about is something called the neural index. And again, I'm going to get right back into the software in a moment to show you guys how this stuff works in real time. This neural index is easy to understand. It's a short-term instrument that's designed to show you strength or weakness in the trend over the next couple of days. If it's green, expect strength. If it's red, expect weakness. So there's no guessing. Green means higher prices, red means lower prices. The third set of indicators that we're using are called predictive differences. Now, these are momentum indicators. It's a 1, 2, and a 3-day momentum indicator. The teal colored line is a 1-day, the pink is a 2-day, and the dark blue is a 3-day momentum indicator. If they're slanting up, that's bullish. If they're slanting down, that's bearish. It's as simple as that. It really is. The final one, for you day traders out there, pay attention. You're going to love this. You Forex traders, you're going to love this. Actually, it doesn't matter what you trade. You're going to love this. That gray bar, that gray predictive candle, that is 2 indicators in one. That is telling you the next day's anticipated trading range. It's giving you the predicted high and the predicted low for that day. And it's giving it to you the previous evening at 6:30 p.m. Think about that. That means tonight at 6:30 p.m., I'm going to know what stocks or markets or whatever it is, I'm going to know what the anticipated range should be for tomorrow. I'm going to have that information tonight. Think you guys can make money with that? Bet you could. So the bottom line is we want to use these in total confirmation with one another. We want all of them to agree at the exact same time, because on that chart of Cisco, we had several of the indicators that weren't in agreement. So let me jump back into the software and I'm going to show you what to look for. Okay. Now I've hand selected this chart console. The reason I did is it's real easy to explain how the software works, but pay attention and follow me. The blue line right here where I'm moving my mouse, the blue line is just crossed beneath the black line. You can see that. The neural index has turned red at this point in time. It doesn't matter what happens afterwards. Right now, we just want to look at that point in time. Is the neural index red? Well, now we have 2 separate predictive indicators relying on their own artificial intelligence, totally different calculations in agreement with one another. Third step here is we want to look at the predictive differences. Are they sloping down? You can see that they are, and as a result, the stock starts to move down. The opposite is true on the upside. The blue line is just crossed above the black line. The neural index has turned green, and all 3 predictive differences are slanting up. That's telling us that that bearish trend has finished, it's gone, and now it's going to start running in the opposite direction. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, pretty simple to see. And then finally, let me get where we actually cross down. Here we go. Now you can see where that blue line, see how the blue line has just, let me get rid of this for a second. The blue line has just crossed beneath the black line. The neural index has turned red. All of the predictive differences down here are sloping down. Now you'll notice though, the stock was consolidating. There was no real indication that it was going to go down, but the AI wasn't fooled, guys. The AI absolutely wasn't fooled. It's saying, hey, expect a bearish trend. And that's exactly what happened until right here. The blue line is clearly crossed above the black line. The neural index has turned green. All three of the predictive differences are up. Are you guys seeing that? Now, I did an earlier webinar today. This chat panel on here is kind of weird. I'm not used to using it. So I still have the list. I did audience participation. I told everyone to give me the top 3 things that they wanted to look at. Since I don't know how to use the chat box in here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up what I pulled up earlier, and we're going to do some analysis real quick. So the first thing we're going to look at is Shopify. And by the way, for those of you who think that I'm hand picking these, I'm not. These came from the earlier webinar. If you were on it, you saw these live. So here we go. Here's Shopify. So here's the reality of what you can do with our software. Look at the blue line. It just crossed above the black line. The neural index has turned green, and all the predictive differences are moving up. That is our indication that a trend is about to take place. Now, because it's forecasting consistently every single day on a 1, 2, and 3 day basis, we have time to stay in this trade until, and we're going to use this in sequential order, when the blue line crosses beneath the black line, which it has not yet. Guys, notice that over on the right-hand side, the blue line is still above the black line. So we're not fooled. We're not getting shaken out of this early. We're still in this trade. The only way we would get out of this is if that blue line, that predictive indicator, crossed the black line and this turned red and these differences were pointed down. But until that happens, it's safe to stay in the trade. Now, what can you achieve when you're using technology like this? That's what's important. Here's an example. 56 trading days. This particular market went up 59%. Guys, I'll do the math for you real quick. Without margin, without options, just buying, and it's an expensive stock, so let's say we just put $10,000 in it. A $10,000 investment would have returned $5,900 in profit. Back out your commissions, although most of the stuff out there today is commission free. That's a $5,900 profit in, look at that, in 56 trading days. Not bad. You would have beaten the return of the S&P last year if this is the only trade that you made. Now, let's go a little deeper. I want to look at some more. OLED is one that we showed. OLED. Let me pull this up for you. Okay. Now, notice, guys, see how the stock starts to consolidate and kind of drift down a little bit here? Well, we wouldn't have gotten caught up in that period of time, and we wouldn't have had our money sitting stagnant. You know, we want our money working for us at all times. That blue line is just crossed beneath the black line. The neural index has clearly turned red, and all three of the predictive differences are pointing down. We didn't have the all clear until right here. Look at where I just moved my mouse. On 12/12, the blue line crossed above the black line, telling us a bullish trend was about to take place. The neural index was green, and all three of the predictive differences were going up. Same thing here. The trend has ended right here. Now, guys, look on your screen for a second. Look from where I made this little dotted line, look backwards. There is no indication that this trend is about to fall apart. But if you're using these tools, there is, because the blue line just crossed beneath, the neural index turned red, the predictive differences are pointing down. Why is this important? Well, look at what you can achieve when you're doing this. If we know when to get into a position, which is important. Here's 25 trading days, up about 10%. If we know when to get out of a position or when to short something, here's a 14% rate of return. How many of you would have been in a position like this, not knowing when to get out? You rode it all the way up, you're up 10% on your money, and you're feeling pretty good, but then all of a sudden, whack, the thing gets hammered, and you give back everything you made and then some. God, that's frustrating. And you have no idea that that's happening. By the time you realize you're in trouble, the stock's already gapped down, and then it's continuing to go down, and you've lost so much money, you're just holding on, hoping it comes back. Guys, you don't need to do that. If you can forecast the markets ahead of time with a high degree of accuracy, there is no reason to do that. And this is what the AI is showing you. Now, hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here and you're seeing this clearly. I also showed gold today. Let me jump up on gold real quick. GOLD. And we're actually going to look at the metal itself. Why not? All right. Look at your screen, guys. You can see right here, right where my mouse is, the blue line has just crossed above on 12.2. All of our predictive differences are now slanting up. The neural index is green. We literally could have done this. We could have jumped in the next day on just one contract. Let's just assume we sold at yesterday's close, and I'll tell you why that might have been a good idea in just a moment. In 44 trading days, the market itself moved up 6.42%. Now, oh, this is 5 contracts. Let me adjust this for 1 contract. Let's be a little more realistic. I don't know what the margin requirement is to hold gold overnight. I'm going to assume it's under $10,000 a contract. 1 contract, you would have made a profit of $9,430 on gold, guys. Think about this. Now, remember how I also said gold and the market usually go in opposite directions. That wasn't the case this time because remember, gold's also being driven by a variety of different markets, and the artificial intelligence is analyzing all of that. But now I want to fast forward to the right-hand side of the screen. I want you to pay very, very close attention. Look at the blue line. The blue line is just about to touch the black line. In fact, it's probably going to cross it. Now, also notice the neural index is red, and all of our predictive differences are going down. The only saving grace here is see that turquoise colored line, how it's almost going sideways? That just means the momentum on a 1 day is not expected to increase. But over the next 2 and 3 days, we still see heavy momentum coming in, and it looks like it is going to be going down. Now, the final one, it's a fan favorite. It's also all over the internet right now. Guys, you want a funny thing to try? Go to your search bar on Google and type in the word should. Yesterday, I couldn't even get to should I. I just typed in SHOU, and the results came up, should I buy Tesla stock? I can't believe this. That's what Google's saying. So watch this. Tesla, the question is, did we know? Yeah, of course we knew. Watch this. Let me pull up Tesla for you real quick. All right, guys. You'll notice right here we had some consolidation. The blue line was beneath the black line. So again, we could have saved ourselves the headaches. We didn't even need to have our money here. We could have put it to work somewhere else. But right here at this point in time, the blue line crossed above the black line. So the artificial intelligence was saying, hey, the trend's about to go up. The neural index turned green, which saying, hey, over the next couple of days, expect strength in the trend. And finally, the predictive differences are also pointing higher. Guys, this is wash, rinse, and repeat. It is literally this simple. We could have gotten in right here, and even with the volatility that's going on, let's say we got shaken out yesterday and we sold right at the close. I'll just keep this fair. 39 trading days. No margin, no options, nothing fancy, just buying 100 shares of the stock or however many you can afford. 118%. Guys, a $10,000 investment right there, you've made over $10,000 in the last 39 trading days. Are you starting to see the bigger picture here? This is what the software is capable of doing. Now, here's what I put together for you guys. Someone was asking me to stop beating around the bush and just get to what we have. So let me tell you what I put together for the special just for this. Oh, before I do, I want to share just 2 things with you, just quickly. Because people still, well, how do I know it's going to work for me? I'm going to go through this really quick, but these are real reviews right off of our website, and there's hundreds of them. VantagePointSoftware.com. If you just want to go and look, you'll see all of these there. Billy says, you will be successful and make money. My advice to traders would be to buy Vantage Point. You will make money. My favorite of all time is Alfred. I'm not allowed to mention his age, but I will tell you that he's an options trader. And when he bought the software, he was a little skeptical, but after we trained him, he had 2 training sessions with us. He said he bought 3 different options. All 3 were closed out in 5 days, and his profit was $6,452. His reason for trading is he's funding a trust for education for his grandkids. He's never made money before. He gets Vantage Point within a couple of trading sessions, or training sessions, excuse me. He's up and running off to the races, and he's already made money with the software. It's powerful, folks. So here's what I put together for you. Just for being on this webinar and for allowing me to have the technical issues I had today. And by the way, thank you guys for your grace. That was a little embarrassing, but as I started, I said, I'm not familiar with the platform. So we're going to give you access, and hold on just for 1 minute. Where are we at now? Guys, evidently my screen's not sharing, so let me do a new share. And then which one?
Well, now you can go to that.
Okay. Okay, now you guys should be able to see it. So here's what we're putting together. Vantage Point, we're going to give you a 1-year subscription. You're going to have all the indicators that you just saw, every single one of them. You'll have access to all of them. We're also going to unlock every single asset class within the software for the first 3 weeks. You guys are going to have a playground, if you will. Literally, we're going to give you access to over $50,000 worth of artificial intelligence, and you don't even need to buy it. You're going to have everything for the first 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, while you're working with your software coach, you're going to need to tell them what sector you want to choose. And evidently, you guys still can't see my screen. Hold on a second. Where should I be going?
Let's try that.
Hey, Eric.
Okay, guys, could someone chime in and tell me if you can see my screen?
Oh, you know what? Click it and then click
No, we can't. We still see the
Oh,
Tesla
okay,
chart.
hold on. Let's see this one
Yeah.
and this one. How about now? You should see some bubbles on the screen. Okay, we're back
Yeah.
up and running. Gosh, this platform is frustrating. I think I should give you guys a bigger discount for dealing with this, but let me run through this real quick. So here's what we're going to give you. 1-year subscription to Vantage Point. First 3 weeks, we give you access to everything in the software. Trade until your heart's content. Futures, commodities, stocks, Forex. It doesn't matter what it is. If we forecast for it, you'll have it. After 3 weeks, you're going to choose either one market, one currency pair, one futures market, or one stock sector, ETF sector, whatever it is. If you're going to do stocks, I'd recommend technology. There's a couple hundred stocks in there. In addition to that, we're going to give you a quick start user's guide. This will get you up and running very, very quickly. Now, in addition to this, we're doing something really special that we used to not do. We're going to give you access to Vantage Point University. Vantage Point University has over 20 on-demand video modules in it with bi-weekly updates. You can learn the software in the comfort of your own home, day or night. And then if you have questions, and I love this, we're going to give you a professional software coach. You're going to have dedicated one-on-one support through a team of software experts here at Vantage Point. Folks, they're not outsourced. They're not in Singapore or India. They're here, right here in Tampa, Florida, in our office. We're going to pair you up, so if you ever have questions, you're going to have someone in your corner. That's nice. Now, the reason we do it is we want you to have results like this guy, Sam. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Sam spent $15,000 on competitors, one of our competitors' software. It didn't work for him. Saying he was skeptical would be a gross understatement. He came to us, he gave us a try, and his first couple weeks, he actually did incredibly well, surprisingly well, where his coach said, hey, Sam, would you mind sharing your story? We want to put it on our website. Sam said, absolutely not. Look, I'm a pharmacist. My reputation's important, and for all I know, this could be a fluke. He goes, come back to me in 6 months after I've actually been able to really put it through its paces. If it's still holding up, then yeah, I'll give you a testimonial. Well, we did that. We reached back out to Sam. Look at what he said. I started trading with Vantage Point with real money 6 months ago, and my account has tripled. Tripled, guys. So here's the last question you have to ask yourself, because we were looking at this stock, and then we saw all the indicators on it. There's 2 reasons that you wouldn't become a Vantage Point family member, and I'm going to outline those right now. First of all, it's too expensive. I'm going to cover that in a moment. I've made this so affordable, my 18-year-old could buy it. The other reason, though, is it's too complicated. Well, guys, look at your chart right now. I just put Vantage Point back up on the same stock that you guys were confused about earlier. Look at the indicators. The blue line is about to cross the black line. The neural index has turned red, and the differences are pointing down. What does that mean? If you're answering to yourself that you know this stock's about to go down, then using it is not going to be a problem for you. And look at what happens. See that on the screen? So for all of you that thought it was going to go up, sorry, that's the problem. The technical indicators would have never let you see that coming. So back to what we're offering. Here it is. A 1-year software license. We value that at $2,900. Unlimited access to Vantage Point University, $995 value. We're going to give you a quick start user's guide along with our resources for $495. And then we're going to give you 6 months of unlimited expert coaching. Guys, that is so undervalued, it's not even funny. I've spent 5 times that, 10 times that for 6 months worth of coaching, and I'm sure you have. But we're going to pair you up with our coaches. You're going to have them for 6 months. You won't need them. You'll need them for a couple of sessions, but you have access to them for 6 months. You have a big brother looking over your shoulder, showing you the ropes. This package is normally $5,685. Not on the webinar. I told you I'd make this so affordable my 18-year-old could do it. I'm going to give it to you for $997. You save $4,600 immediately. The reason I'm doing this is I do not want price to be a barrier. Once you use the software, start making money with it, you can always come back. We'll talk about a lifetime membership at that time, or some of you may even want to do that now. So if you want to take advantage of the special that we have right now, go ahead into the chat box or anywhere you can enter your name and phone number. Go ahead and put that in. And in about 5 minutes, I'll have my team reach out to you. I see I've got about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to be very, very quick here. So go ahead and put your phone number in. We'll reach out to you the moment I get off and the next presenter starts. So $997. Now, the only thing you're going to need to make the software work is you will need a data feed. You can't use any data out there. We need it formatted for the AI. So we have a company we work with called Traders Only. They only charge $35 a month. Folks, it's the gas that you're putting in the Lamborghini. It's that simple. It's about $1 a day. Okay, so the other thing, and I just had a notification that I can actually spend a couple of additional minutes with you guys. I've been speaking like a madman here. It sounds like I'm trying to hype this, and I'm not. I'm just trying to get through it because of the technical difficulties. So let me slow down for just a moment. Here's the reality. The tools that you're using right now, and I'm not knocking anyone else or what they have, but if they're only looking at a market in complete isolation, they are missing what's driving and impacting that particular thing that you're trading. Guys, that's silly. That's like driving down the street in a car at high speed, only being able to look out of the windshield, not being able to use any of your mirrors or see what's happening behind you or beside you. And that's where you get blindsided. Same thing happens in the markets every single day. Use the artificial intelligence. It's giving you that 360-degree visibility so you can see what's actually happening. And then through the use of predictive technical indicators, you'll know what's coming before it comes. So I'm going to do something else. The other thing I get, by the way, is, you tell me what your customers are saying. What are the pros saying? Traders World loves us. Traders Magazine absolutely loves us. Stocks and Commodities. I like this because all of these people are not only telling you what our software does, but they're also telling you that in a short period of time, you can recoup your money very, very quickly. Here's my favorite, though. Your Trader's Edge. I'm not going to open it up because I'll go over on time. Your Trader's Edge did a full review, and they said, look, I don't want anything hand-picked. I want to pick the markets, and I'm going to do a multi-year test. They went back 4 years and randomly picked markets, futures, commodities, stocks, everything, cryptocurrencies. They were looking at everything out there. They found that our average accuracy rating was right around 80%. Then they did this whole review, which we absolutely loved. By the way, the guy that runs Your Trader's Edge used to be the former managing editor for Dow Jones Newswire for their futures and commodities, if I'm not mistaken. Now he runs Your Trading Edge. You can look him up. His name is Richard Wooten, by the way. So after he gave us this glowing review, and we didn't pay him for it, guys, he just put it through its paces and wanted to share. He said, if you're serious about your trading, you should strongly consider joining the thousands of other Vantage Point users. Well, technically, that would be almost 30,000 other users. He said, an intelligent trader or investor should have no problem recouping the cost of the software quickly. Highly recommended. So again, folks, put in your phone number. I'll have someone reach out to you. You're never going to have an opportunity like this again to have this type of technology for less than $1,000. That's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to do something else for you, though. For anyone that puts in a phone number and puts fast action, type in fast action. I'm going to give you concierge treatment. And what this means is I'll have someone from my team remote into your computer, do the installation for you. I'll have them optimize your computer to make sure that it's running quickly and that everything is perfect. Then they'll do your initial walkthrough, showing you all the features of the software, and they'll introduce you to your coach. That is something we normally do for $295, and a lot of people take us up on it. Type in the word fast action. I'm going to give it to you for free. Absolutely free of charge, just for joining the Vantage Point family. So go ahead and put your phone number in. I'll have someone reach out to you the moment I get off. And then finally, it's not a, I don't like a lot of hype. So, I want to have skin in the game as well. So here's what we're doing. We're giving you guys an ironclad profit guarantee. And here's how it works. And this is very, very simple. Put the software through its paces. Join the thousands of other people that we've been able to effectively change their lives. Use the software. And if you don't have the potential to make tenfold on your initial investment over just the next year, I'll give you another year absolutely free of charge. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no BS. I'm not even going to ask you why you weren't able to. Heck, if you don't trade with it and you say, no, I'm sorry, I didn't have the ability to do that, I'll give you another year absolutely free. So with that said, think about this. And I'm going to kind of ask the question a different way, and then I'm going to get off with you guys because I really do appreciate your time, and I've been talking very, very quickly. If I'm half right with what I'm saying, if I'm just half right, and guys, listen, I've been doing this a long time. I'm definitely right. But even if I'm only half right, what do you have to lose? Not very much. You guys are probably losing more than this on an individual loss. You know, maybe not putting your stop losses where they need to be, or maybe holding on too long. But what if I'm right? And I am. You know, we have patents on the software. We're a 40-year-old organization that's been developing this for the last 30 years. We're not new to the game, guys. We wrote the book on it. Literally, Lou Mendelson literally has written several books on this. If I'm right, this can change everything for you. And I'm going to leave you with one thought. Each of you know how many trades you make on a monthly basis. I don't know what that number is. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 50. I don't know. But here's what I want you to ask yourself. If you made just 10 trades a month, 10 opening and 10 closing transactions, if you could just pick up an extra $100 a trade by getting in sooner and choosing better opportunities, mind you, that's an extra $1,000 a month. If you knew when to get out and you stopped holding on to these things for too long, or maybe you're jumping out too early and you're leaving the lion's share on the table. But if you knew when to get out, I'm willing to bet you could make a lot more than $100 on the back end. But let's keep it simple. I want to be conservative. If you only made $100 more on the back end, now that's $2,000 a month in additional income or money that you didn't have before. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, you're going to have license for an entire year. That's $24,000. Guys, in my world, this is simple math. Spend less than $1,000 for the ability to drastically improve your trades and upgrade your life. And that's what this is really about. So with that said, I'm kind of droning on here. I'm 2 minutes over. Guys, I really appreciate your time. I'm sure there's some phenomenal presenters that have already been on that are coming after me that probably know how to use the control panel a little better than I do. But I will make this commitment to you. For those of you that put your phone number in, if you want a live one-on-one demonstration, my staff will do that for you. And by the way, we use a different system to do our presentations on. They know how to use the system, so it won't be jumbled up the way I did. But with that said, go ahead, put your phone number in. We'll reach out to you the moment I'm done. We're going to be calling you for those that want to get started with the technology. We're going to be calling you from an 813 area code, most likely. So if you see an 813 area code come through, that's us. By the way, we're also going to put a link in here somewhere, or you could, if you just want to buy it online, throw it on your credit card. You can send us a message with your name and your email address, and we'll email you a link, and you can just buy it online, and then we'll just have the coaches call you and set everything up for you. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, to your continued success. You guys have an amazing afternoon. Thank you so much. This is Eric, and I am signing off.